Cool. Well, I'll just throw this on spacebar then and kill the recording. You didn't miss too much. It was about 10 seconds. But it was purely aspiration. And so, yeah, while people did want to cook better, not everybody wanted to cook better, but it was a thing that you could aspire to for what, fourpence? No, 4 and 8 a week, which strikes me as 4 shillings sixpence. That seems pretty significant in old English money. I believe this is also an Australian one. Let's just have a look. No, so this is published in Britain. So this is pre-decimal England, which could be up to the mid-1970s, because England's a backward nation that took forever to give up on fantasy ways of doing things, like having to remember that 12 pennies to the shilling, 20 shillings to the pound, blah, blah, blah. I only know that because of Dungeons and Dragons, for the record. Anyway, the point is, the point I'm trying to make is that a chef, being a chef it is a trade. If you wish to succeed at it, you need significant specialized training, and you will operate in a world that most people do not understand and cannot understand, but they think they do because everybody kind of cooks and everybody eats. There's a whole bunch of stuff in the technical molecular side of cooking that's counterintuitive that I don't have time to go into, apart from to just say go read Hervé Thesis Molecular Gastronomy, where he points out such things as if you want to cook all the alcohol out of a dish, for example, you need to get it to the temperature. You need to get it to above 185 degrees Celsius to remove all the alcohol. That's actually a significantly important thing to remember if you're a professional chef, and it's true for some complicated reasons that I'm not going to go into. Sorry. Anyway, and it's the same with a lot of things. Like, a lot of things is wankery. There's no such thing as a roast searing. It's putting shit in a hot oven and giving it a Maillard reaction on the outside. It happened the same thing if you did it with a torch, if you threw it in a hot pan. The reason why chefs pick up this technique and do it is because chefs always have an oven sitting at about 200 to 300 degrees Celsius. Or if you like using imaginary units that are made up by weirdos and obsessed over by wankers, 300 to 400 Fahrenheit. They're just those oven. You always have an oven running it that hot, just so you can cook things fast. So when they talk about doing an immersion, a water bath cooking, because you use an immersion circulator to something that has been sealed sous vide, which means under vacuum. The technique is not called sous vide. It's actually precise temperature controlled cooking using a water bath. That's just done to get your steak to a certain point, and when you sear it on the outside, putting it in a hot oven, or chefs always have a hot oven, and if a chef is doing a steak that would do a reverse sear, they will also have a water bath set up, running the entire service 4 or 5 hours with the meat just sitting on it. And that's why techniques like that are impractical for home gamers. But they're not things that a home gamer is expected to know, and it's a bit of wankery that food blogs want to sell you that level of cooking, because it's just a waste of time. If you have an immersion circulator at home, how long does yours take to heat up 10 litres of water? Because my domestic one that I had in America took about 45 minutes to heat up 10 litres of water. Because they're not that powerful, because if they were that powerful, they'd catch fire. They can't boil water. Well, we don't need them to boil water. And if you want to give them a hand, you end up having to basically pour hot tap water in them, which is great if you want something that's above the temperature of hot tap water, but not if you don't. Anyway, with this whole rant, I'm just going off to show there's a whole bunch of technical information that a professional chef knows and needs to have at their command, just to be able to have conversations about food. This is all just surface level stuff. This is with not even including the wonderful stuff like how meat feels and how it looks and how it sounds when it's cooking, which is stuff that you need to be able to do this practically. You need a massive lexicon and a huge whopping freaking pile of books just to be able to enter in the conversations that you have. And when someone who is not trained or qualified and has no experience doing this wanders into kitchens to try and run one, they explode and burn down. This is also why the majority of chefs do not last. Depending on who you ask, once again, it's between 40 and 75% of everyone that starts off a career in hospitality as a chef quits. That's the 5 year point. 10 year point, it's something like 90%. It's catastrophic because this is not an easy job. It is constantly physically demanding. It requires an exceptional knowledge. You have to constantly maintain an obsessive fixation on zeitgeist, fantasies. You have to read a massive amount of books. Like, to make this job work in the capitalist hellscape in which we live is a phenomenal amount of effort. And I hope that this little chat kind of shows that you can maybe get an understanding of just the information that you need to have on hand, just to talk about things. And the economics of it is also important. And hopefully I've shown why a traditional understanding of economics when applied to restaurants just doesn't work, because the expectations and desires of people that go to a restaurant are not the same as a traditionally modelled. It's also why economics is a complete waste of time to study. Let's be honest, if there was a grand unified theory of anything, every chef would want to learn it, because it'd make running a restaurant absolutely simple, and then you would just be able to succeed. You wouldn't have to worry about anything, and that doesn't exist, so you have to worry about everything. So, anyway, I'm kind of running out of steam. Catch you guys on the flip side.